one.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here for the Arizona Commission for the Deaf and the Hard of Hearing. We are here for our Hard of Hearing Task Force meeting, which we have quarterly, and I'm happy to see you all this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. And I would just like to call to order the meeting officially. And I would like to, for our minutes, just go around and acknowledge each of you so that I know who is present at the meeting this morning. And I'm just going to go ahead and say welcome. Barry Forrest, thank you for joining us. Ron Tolman, good morning. Thank you so much. Michelle is here from the commission. Liz Booth, welcome. Thank you so much. And then we have Lisa and Sandra, our new teammates, who are going to be introducing themselves in a moment. Thank you for being here with us. Cynthia, it's great to see you this morning. And Fred Williams, thank you so much for being here. And then we are joined by our ASL interpreter. We have Dustin here, and we also have Lepertise here, and then we have our cart captioner here with us this morning. So we are accessible to everyone with captioning and with ASL interpreters. So that's a wonderful thing, and that's always our aim here at the commission, to be fully accessible to the community that we serve. And I would like to take a moment. I don't think I have any other housekeeping other than the fact that we are live streaming this morning to YouTube. And this gives us an opportunity to open up to the community so that it's an open meeting and people can join in and see what we are working so hard on here with the task force and the topics that we talk about. So I want to take just a moment this morning to welcome Lisa. Lisa, how do you pronounce your last name?
Okay, so it sounds like in no way. So like 3 words, in no way.
In no way. That's beautiful. Thank you for helping me with that. I appreciate that. I want to just take an opportunity to welcome you to the meeting. Lisa is our new communications media specialist. I have that correct. And I'm going to give her the floor for a few minutes just to welcome her and give her an opportunity to tell us a little bit about your background and your new position here at ACDHH. I'll give it over to you, Lisa.
Thank you, and hello everyone. I'm so happy to have the opportunity to meet all of you. This is my first Hard of Hearing Task Force meeting that I've attended. I should start off by saying that I have been a graphic designer for over 30 years, and I've worked in a lot of different capacities with different corporations. I've worked in small businesses. I've worked as an art director for a graphic design company as well. And in my last job, I was with the Arizona Republic working in the marketing department. And I have been, I was a mother for many years, and I left employment for a couple of years while I raised my son. And now that my son graduates next Tuesday from high school, I might cry just talking about it, but I thought it was time. It was time for me to get back into the working world. So that's how I started my position here at ACDHH, and I'm so happy to be working with everyone. And I will be, in my position, be doing more graphic design work. I will also be doing media work as well. I'm happy to meet all of you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Lisa. It's great to have you with us. I didn't know we had that in common. I was a stay-at-home mom for about 10 years, even though I've been in the field of human services for more than 25 years. I now have a teenager who's in high school, and I'm so happy to be back at work and enjoy, what I do. So we definitely share that in common, and welcome you. And all right, I want to also say good morning to Sandra. And Sandra, if you could help me with a pronunciation of your beautiful last name too, I would appreciate it. And if you could just share a little bit about your background and your new position here at the commission.
I'm Sandra, and my last name is Regalado. It's present in Spanish. So I have been with the state for almost 14 years in August. And prior to working for the state, I was in nonprofit for 11 years for the Junior Achievement of Arizona nonprofit. And there I maintained about 3,000 donor records for the agency. And then in 2008, I decided to come and work for the state of Arizona. And I started with the Department of Mines and Minerals right next door to the commissions. And from there, I moved on to the Arizona Department of Administration, and I started with the General Accounting Department under the Central Services Bureau, where I was an accounting specialist, and I had 17 state boards as well as commissions assigned to me, where we did full service accounting to HR to payroll. And then probably in about January of last year, I decided to come and work for the Arizona Commission here. And I've been working with Carlos and the team as the business operations technician, doing the accounts payable and helping with some of the accounting areas, and just more or less paying some of our invoices and reconciling and working with the budget as well too.
Okay, well, wonderful. Well, welcome, Sandra. Welcome to both you and Lisa. We're happy to have you with us, and I look forward to working with you both and getting to know you. You're welcome to stay on for the duration of our meeting today, or I know you're both very busy too, so I'm going to let you choose, but I appreciate you taking the time to join us today and introduce yourself.
Thank you. It was nice meeting everybody.
All right.
This is Lisa. Yes, thank you.
Great. Okay, and I know we're going to be joined. I had next on the agenda to be talking with Becca and Nikki, and Becca let me know that she has another meeting, so we'll look forward to hearing from her in a moment. But I think what I would like to do next is, I know I had shared with all of you a copy of our minutes from February, our last meeting, and I work really hard on those minutes. I go back and forth with Michelle to make sure that we're saying it, clearly, but I appreciate any feedback or any corrections. So does anybody have any comments on our last minutes? Cynthia does. Oh, and you're muted, Cynthia.
Christy, yes, I have a couple comments. One is that the name Sue Varden is still not spelled correctly. Her last name is V as in Victor, A, R as in Robert, D as in David, O-N.
Okay, I thank you so much for that, and I'll make sure to put that down.
That's a little one. And something I'm very embarrassed about is that I recommended a book that turned out to be fraudulent, which was Keith Darrow's Preventing Decline and Treatment. And there is absolutely zero information on treatment, and it's very sketchy. We actually went through it and read it. And this guy's supposedly from Harvard and MIT, but he sounds like he didn't get through about 6th grade. So I'm not sure what was at work there and how he got to publish this book, because it has absolutely no good information in it.
Wow, well, thank you for giving us that.
Rarely come across a case like that. And I'm sorry, that's it.
No, thank you for those comments, Cynthia. I have that noted, and I appreciate that feedback. And I see, thank you, Cynthia. And I see that Ron had his hand up.
Just a quick note on page 5 of the minutes, Corinne's name is still misspelled. It should be Karin.
All right, thank you. My goodness, I have to get on top of my spelling. I appreciate those corrections and I'll make those updates, and going forward, hope to have those correct. Thank you for that feedback. Does anybody else have any other corrections that are needed for the minutes? Okay, with those corrections noted, and when I make those changes, would anyone like to move to approve the minutes with those noted changes? Liz, making the first
So moved.
motion? Okay, thank you. And Cynthia, making the second motion. Thank you. Okay, and all in favor of approving our minutes? Everyone in favor of passing those through with those corrections? Yes, okay. All right, thank you. All right, is there anything? All right, we have that all set. And then what I want to do is I would like, next on the agenda, I would just like to share with you a little bit about the hard of hearing specialist report that I have. I want to begin by mentioning that we all know that May is a Better Hearing and Speech Month. And this is a wonderful month because it gives us an opportunity, and it's brought to us by the American Speech, Language, and Hearing Association, or ASHA, which encourages us to create opportunities to raise awareness for people that are hard of hearing or have other communication or speech disorders. So this year, the theme has been connecting people, and that gave us a really great platform. We created a logo, and we're really putting out the best information that we can find on our social media. So I hope you have your eye on that for e-news and Facebook and Twitter and all of the, and I know I see too from the various HLA groups, we have some great information being put out, but it gives us an opportunity to highlight being hard of hearing, how important it is to be able to connect people. And it makes me think of whether that be day-to-day life, whether that be with our family, our friends, employment, whether that be at medical appointments. What do we need at school? What do we need to connect to other people? So I just think this has been a great topic this year, and it's something that we really talk about all year long, being hard of hearing, and how do we connect and have that equal access and effective communication. Did anybody else have any comments on Better Hearing and Speech Month that they wanted to share? Okay, all right, I'm gonna move on. I just wanted to share a little bit about our Hearing Healthcare Assistance Project, which is HHAP, that we have in partnership with the Arizona State University Speech and Hearing Clinic. So far to date, we have referred 29 people over to ASU for hearing aids. This is a program that we have with ASU for people who have low income and they're needing hearing aids and can't afford them. I receive dozens of contacts each month. I know in March, 19 people reached out to me. In April, I had 11 people. And so far in May, I've had another 11 people. So with those contacts, not only do they go to ASU, some of them, but some of them need to go to vocational rehab. Some of them benefit from the VA or other national resources. So it really is a conversation that I have with people and pulling out, maybe they even have insurance for hearing aids and they didn't realize it. Some people haven't checked recently and they find out I do have insurance for hearing aids. So it's a process. And once I connect with those people, I also am sure to give other resources, because we all know it's not just about hearing aids. Hearing aids are a big part of it, but we also want to have connections to other hard of hearing people. We want to have connections to our HLAA groups, support groups. We have a wonderful group called Hope Now, too, that's online that we can connect virtually with CART and captions. So it's really, once these people connect with us, it's an ongoing conversation, and they reach back out to me for various things, technology. They connect with Vicki Thompson in our phone program. So it's really great to see people just bloom and feel connected. So I'm really excited about that project. I think it's made a big impact. Michelle, did you have any other comment about that before I move on? Did you want to share anything? No, you're good. Okay. All right, good. Does anybody else have any questions about that program before I move on? It's going really well, and I'll certainly keep you posted on that. All right, I just wanted to comment too that we've been hard at work again with a big part of my role here as the hard of hearing specialist is to provide outreach and education. And primarily I'm fortunate to work with Kim Menard, our deaf specialist. And we've been doing presentations, we do presentations back in person now and virtually so we can reach the whole state. We were fortunate enough to have a wonderful presentation with the Arizona Department of Health Services, and we had some great feedback from them, really positive feedback and evaluation. So that was a great experience. We also trained in person with the Human Services Consultants, and this is a group that provides community-based services for families that are helping children to be in a safe, secure, nurturing environment. And they may return home or they may become adopted. So, and many of these children are hard of hearing too. So we did our training with them, and that was really a great experience. We also had a training with our PEMA nursing students. They are so excited to connect with us and eager to learn about communication strategies. And Kim and I also visited our Queen Creek Police Department, and we did our public safety training. So we're always out there training as much as we can, and we really enjoy it and get a lot of great feedback. I know going forward, I'm looking forward, I have a training with Shepherd of the Hills United Methodist Church in Sun City West. And I also will be meeting with St. Mary's Manor in Phoenix and St. John's Manor. So people reach out to us all different places, and they just want to learn more about what can they do to help their hard of hearing community members. So that's what we're here for. And let's see. I also just want to note, the one thing I wanted to share before I move on to the next agenda item is one thing that I'm noticing more and more, hard of hearing people are reaching out to me just due to the impact that mental health is having on them. And it might be just they're at work, they're feeling alone, and maybe they don't know any other hard of hearing person. So I'm seeing that more and more as a trend, people just feeling impacted and they don't know where to turn. So that's something that we're going to be really looking at, and something we all know about, and how that hard of hearing, how it impacts us in various ways. So I just look forward to, reaching out to people, connecting people, and it's just been, again, I'm privileged to be in my position, and look forward to connecting with people whenever I can. All right, does anybody have any other questions? All right, and let's see, we're doing good on time. And I'm gonna turn it over to Michelle so she can give her hard of hearing program manager report.
Hi, thanks, Christy, for that. Good morning, everybody. So a little bit of background on our hard of hearing task force. for the new contractors on our staff, for Lisa and Sandra. The Hard of Hearing Task Force has been going since I joined the agency back in 2007. And the purpose of the Hard of Hearing Task Force is to support the agency in the agency goals and objectives as they relate to the hard of hearing non-signing community. Most hard of hearing people in Arizona, and that is 1.1 million people in Arizona who are hard of hearing, like myself and like Christy and like the other members of our task force. Most do not use sign language. Most of us use, we speak, we use hearing aids, we use cochlear implants, hearing assistive technology, we use captioning, these kinds of things. And so, so the Hard of Hearing Task Force is comprised of leaders in the hard of hearing community throughout Arizona who participate in our quarterly task force meetings and advise the agency on initiatives and things that relate to the hard of hearing community. So this has been a long-standing task force, and it will continue. I used to lead it, but now Christy has taken the reins of this and is doing a great job with leading our task force. So just wanted to give you a little bit of background. So some of the things that Christy mentioned, and again, I'm the program manager. I manage the hard of hearing program, the hearing healthcare program, the Arizona Telecommunications Equipment Distribution Program, which is our free phone program. I manage outreach and education for the Arizona Relay Service, and I'm also the internal staff lead on a senior project that we are working on to address the needs of our seniors, whether they're hard of hearing, deaf, deafblind, or seniors with combined vision and hearing loss. So I have a couple hats that I'm wearing here. But we have a great team here with our hard of hearing task force, and with our agency. We have been, we've grown. I think when I joined the agency 15 years ago, I think we were 12 people. We're small but mighty, but we are growing to better serve all of our communities, serving our deafblind community, et cetera. And, but we have so many irons in the fire. We have so many things that we're working on. And the hearing healthcare program is one of them. We have forever been told that people have needs to get access to hearing healthcare. Hearing healthcare can be expensive, and so we've really been looking at how to address that issue. So for the past year, we've been engaged in the Hearing Healthcare Assistance Project, and I call it hearing healthcare. I don't call it the hearing aid project, because as all of us hard of hearing leaders on this call know, it is not just about the ear. It is not just about the hearing aid or the cochlear implant. It is about hearing healthcare. It is about falls prevention. It's about preventing the decline, the dementia. It's about being aware of cardiovascular disease and how that impacts our hearing. It's about knowing what our rights are and responsibilities under the ADA, Section 504, IDEA, all of the other laws that impact hard of hearing people throughout our lifespan. It's about using hearing assistive technology, knowing about cart captioning, knowing about apps on our smartphones, knowing about signaling devices at home. There's so much for a hard of hearing person to learn about and to utilize. So when we talk about hearing healthcare, we're talking about access to really great diagnostic exams. We're talking about somebody really looking in your ear and seeing what's going on. We're talking about using hearing aids. We're talking about learning about hearing assistive technology. So streamer devices, how to use Bluetooth with your cell phone, loop systems, how to go to Gamage Auditorium and request the neck loop to use with your the device they have for their FM system. So all of those things are really important to know. And not the least of which is aural, AURAL, so not oral, not speaking, AUR, the ear, aural rehabilitation. AR, auditory rehabilitation, and learning what that process is, because so many people who are hard of hearing develop their hearing loss slowly over time. Again, about 2.4 out of 1,000 babies in Arizona is born with a hearing loss, but that increases over time to where older adults, 1/3 to 1/2 have a hearing loss. So we see a lot of noise exposure, recreational exposure to noise, these kinds of things, develop ototoxic medications that cause that hearing loss. Some of it is genetic, some of it's just aging. And so people age into their hearing loss and acquire it over time. And so they need to know all of these things. And so they need to know that when you first get hearing aids, your brain is going to be, okay, wait, what is all this noise? I didn't know there was this much noise. Hearing people know that there's a lot of noise and they're just adjusted to it. So it can be overwhelming to our brains. So the speech language pathology professors and students that work at ASU alongside the audiologist and the audiology students are delivering oral rehabilitation as part of our hearing healthcare assistance project. So it's not just the test, it's not just the hearing aids. It's that oral rehabilitation that teaches you how to use the device, how to use hearing assistive technology, etc. And I'll pause just a moment so the interpreters can change. Okay, great. Thank you. So hearing healthcare is really a whole bunch of things in a package, and that's what our hearing healthcare assistance project is. Christy does a phenomenal job because she walks in the shoes of people who have hearing loss. She understands it intrinsically, organically, like I do. And so when people reach out to us, and they're reaching out to us almost every day. Christy had almost 200 new clients last year, and people are reaching out for help with their workplace issues, accommodations, children with hearing loss, teenagers, working adults, older adults, people in mental health crisis, people, just all kinds of issues that are presented to us on a daily basis. And so, but a lot of people do just reach out and say, hey, I need to get hearing aids. And we in the community, we know that most people who get hearing aids, they wait 8-10 years before they get them. But the sooner you get them, the better for your brain, for sure. And so we talk to them about that. What does that look like? We are not licensed healthcare professionals. We're not audiologists, but we talk to people about the whole spectrum and walk them through that. We don't want to overwhelm them, so we're not going to give them everything at once. But what we do is we start that conversation. We engage in that dialogue with them. So Christy will have just a stream of emails back and forth. Email is our preferred communication for those of us who are hard of hearing, because hearing on the phone while we have captions and things, it's a little more challenging, especially if you do it all day. So we like the email. It's very clear what's being said and what we've provided the person. So the Hearing Healthcare Assistance Project is something that we're just thrilled that we've been able to have for a year now. It's going to continue. We're going to continue partnering with ASU on this, providing the funding for a lot of this program, and start to expand that into other areas of the state. Again, anyone in the state who needs hearing health care can contact our office and ask for assistance, and we will direct them to the resources that are available to them. So I just really want to talk more about that so that people understand what that's all about. And I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone would have. And I see Cynthia raising her hand. And you need to unmute.
I was going to ask you about the University of Arizona and if you're going to bring the University of Arizona into this hearing healthcare project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Tucson and Southern Arizona have a couple resources. They're that are providing hearing aids and audiology services for folks. But yes, we will be expanding. We will be looking at expanding into the Tucson area as well. So they are on our radar. Thank you, Cynthia.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments for me today? Okay. I will turn it back over to Christy.
All right, thank you so much, Michelle. Michelle, I'm so fortunate to have Michelle because of her history and all of the knowledge that she has. So I couldn't be in a better position to learn about being the hard of hearing specialist. So very grateful for that. I want to next, we have our Hearing Loss Association of America, or the HLAA chapter leadership announcements. And so Ron, would you like to go first this morning for updates for HLAA Sun Lakes?
Sure, I'll do that. Good morning, everyone. On Monday of this week, we had a meeting with the leadership out at the Sun Lakes United Methodist Church, and we are good to go to open up in-person meetings starting on October 13th. So it's going to be the first time that we've had an in-person meeting. I think it came up with almost 3 years now. And so we're looking forward to that. There's some qualifiers in this whole thing that came to light about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, and it took us during the Holy Week or the Holy Season, it took us some time to get in and see the pastor. The fire department is kind of being a little bit particular about how many people we can have attend our meetings in that room, and they've set a cap at 50. We don't believe that we are going to exceed that number anytime soon, but we have exceeded it in the past. And the church is working with us, and they have come up with an excellent another room if we have to move. It's a larger room, and we'll keep everybody posted if and when that does happen. There's some other items about that room that I don't want to talk about too much right now, but we will stay with the Sun Lakes United Methodist Church for the foreseeable future. We don't see us moving from there. We'll either be in our current room, which is Training Room 1, or go over to the new room, which is called Lindsay Hall. So that in itself was good to get things cleaned up. We are actively working on our fall schedule for the 2022-2023 season. We already have several guest speakers already planned, and we're going to see subjects on the area of relationships with hearing loss, tinnitus, autotoxic drugs, and a new subject just came up yesterday, transitioning from hearing aids to cochlear implants. So some very good subjects that we're looking at for the next season. So if anyone have any questions for me? Okay, I guess we can turn this over to Fred.
Thank you, Ron. And Fred, we would be happy to have you share with us on the HLAA West Valley.
I didn't know I was going to speak today. Melanie is not available, so I don't have a prepared speech, which could be much to your advantage. I'd like to ask Lisa a question right quick, if I could, Christy. Lisa, are you related to Daniel Lanoe?
You know, I get that question quite a bit, and no, I am not related to him.
Okay. I had to ask. I spent time in Hawaii and when he was a senator, and he's a really terrific guy. Anyway, since I don't have a prepared speech, I'll go quickly.
But thank you so much for asking, Fred.
Oh, you're welcome. We're also wrestling with going back to in-person meetings, and we're working with our church to do that. And so far, so good. We need to be hybrid, excuse me, because we have some regular members now from out of state and outside Phoenix. So we have to, and we have some members who really don't want to go back in person, but most people do. So we're wrestling with that, and we need to figure that out by October 11th. We have the book group going on, and we're now starting to read a book called True Biz. If you haven't heard of it or you have an interest in such things, it's one of the best books I've read on related to hearing loss. It's a good story. It's a fiction. There we go. Liz has it. It's a good story, and it has side comments on ASL and signing, the deaf culture, deaf community, and visual communication. So I'm pushing that just a little bit. They also, it looks like they may make that into a series on TV. The book made it into the top 10 of New York Times and it's had a lot of play. So for what that's worth. And our next one may be a new book by Gail Hannon and Sherry Eberts, you probably heard about here and beyond. And so we're lining up some books to read. And our book group kind of serves as a hope session also. And we may try to do something through the summer, I'm not sure yet. But anyway, that's my short comment on what we're doing. And I'll spare you any more.
Yeah. Hi. Thanks, Ron and Fred, for those updates. So one of the things that's really important is that people understand that there is a lot of support out there for hard of hearing folks. There's a lot of support virtually right now because of the COVID issue, but there is also support in person, coming back in person. And of course, Christy and our staff were able to meet with people in person. If necessary, we can also do Zoom meetings like this, keep everybody safe, save drive time, all of that. But the support groups are really important for hard of hearing people of all ages. We have the Hearing Loss Association of America, which is a national organization that has chapters throughout the United States. We're lucky here to have such committed, dedicated volunteers like Liz and Ron and Fred and Roz and other folks, Barry, so many people involved in these chapters. We do have an HLA working adults chapter. So for people who are still working, but anybody can come to these chapters, any age. You don't have to be retired to go to the chapter meetings, to attend virtually. And so they have the chapter meetings, but they also have what's been referenced to as HOPE, HOPE, which is hearing other people's experiences, which is just like a informal peer group kind of chat kind of thing, where we get together and we talk about, hey, what did you do in this situation? Or how did you handle this? Or, what was it like for you when you first got a cochlear implant? Any kind of question. And not just here in the Valley, but there are also support groups down in the Tucson area And so there's, which is where Cynthia Ammerman is. And so we're gonna turn this over now to Cynthia, who can talk about Aloha and all of the different groups they have, like the tinnitus group and stuff. Because again, and these are virtual. So if you're up here in the Valley and you want to jump on to the tinnitus support group that's run out of Tucson, you can jump on that no matter where you are in the state. And in fact, Christy and I find ourselves sometimes jumping on a New York HLA chapter meeting because they're not closed, they're open. You can find out about them, hear about them, because there's some really great information that's shared. So we'll turn this over to Cynthia now and find out more about Tucson.
Thank you, Michelle. I wanted to say that we are having hybrid meetings right now, and we are also considering going to in-person meetings. We have partially gone to in-person meetings. We have sometimes 5 or 6 people in the conference room right now, and we hope to expand that a little bit more in the fall. But our conference room is not big, so we have to be careful how many people will get in there. But we're going to continue hybrid meetings for a long time. Probably forever if we can, because we enjoy having people like Fred and Shannon and Liz and people from all over the state and people from other places. We've had somebody from Nigeria. We've had people from Canada. We don't have big meetings, but it's an interesting hodgepodge meeting. So our weekly peer discussion support group that happens on Tuesdays from 1 to 2 is an HOPE meeting that we've had since 1984, and it runs every week of the year. It is hearing other people's experiences. That is what we have done. It was not called that, but that is what we have done. And we still have those. And please, if anybody wants to come to the weekly meeting, you can refer people who are lonely or who feel isolated to the Aloha peer discussion and support group, which happens on Tuesdays from 1 to 2. I know that West Valley has a meeting at that same time, so I'm sorry about that conflict. But anyway, and I was very sorry about that conflict in a number of instances this time, because I wanted to go to the West Valley chapter and I had to facilitate the Aloha chapter. So it doesn't always work out the way I wish it would. But at our board meeting, we had, it's interesting that Christy, that you talked about the hearing aid collection and so forth, the hearing, what do you call it? The collection of hearing aids for people with low income? Does it have a name?
We call it the Hearing Healthcare Assistance Project.
Oh, okay. So
HHAP.
that's part of the Hearing Healthcare Assistance Project. Okay, wonderful. Well, Dr. Amy Wheeler from the University of Arizona, she's a clinical professor, and she has just taken over what is now called the Southern Arizona Hearing Aid Bank. It used to be just the University of Arizona Hearing Aid Bank. And we are collecting hearing aids from all over our areas south of Phoenix in order to provide hearing aids for low-income people as well. So I don't know if you knew about that project or not, but sounds like they ought to maybe link up. Anyway, Amy spoke for 15 minutes at our board meeting, and then we had a 15-minute question period. Everybody was very interested. So if you would like to have a speaker, she would make an interesting one. Okay, it was kind of a cameo appearance, but I think that we're going to do that as a general rule and have somebody talk for the first hour, talk 15 minutes and question period briefly, because our board members appreciated that so much, learning about the hearing aid bank that they would not have learned about if they hadn't come to the meeting. All right. We're doing individual advocacy projects. at Aloha. And I'm involved in one with the Swarbricks and Jim Luton's. We are trying to get better access to the Sabino Canyon crawler, which has always provided pretty poor access for people with hearing loss. They're doing better because they have little audio boxes and earbuds, but a lot of us with hearing aids and cochlear implants can't use those. So we're in July, I have a meeting with Jim DeGrood from the Sabino Canyon crawler with my 3 Aloha people. And we're going to figure out a way to get better access for people who ride that tram up Sabino Canyon. All right. It was very hard to do our looping advocacy project during the pandemic. We're going to start that again in the fall. And our yard sale was postponed from May 21st to October 15th because the person who was supposed to be leading it left Aloha. She was the office manager through an unfortunate incident. She rightfully left. And we have a new office manager whose name is Liz Castano, who's very friendly and open and wonderful with people who come in. All right, now, 2 speakers we have this month. On Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, we have Beverly Biederman, who wrote Wired for Sound, is going to have a conversation with us from 1 to 2 on Wednesday. And also on the 21st, before that, this Saturday, we are tomorrow. Wow, it's tomorrow. Dr. James Henry is going to speak at our tinnitus group. And he spoke last month and it was fascinating. He is a researcher for the American Tinnitus Association, Dr. James Henry. And people were very interested, and he was about to go on to the part where people were going to learn more. We sort of went over some stuff that many of us knew, and the part that we don't is coming up. So let me see if there's anything else. That's about it for me.
Okay. Thank you so much, Cynthia. I think what we're going to do, everyone, is just because we do have our interpreters and our code provider, we want to make sure to give everybody a break. And we're almost in the middle of a meeting, but it's about 10 of. So why don't we go ahead now and everybody take a break. We can close our cameras and turn off our sound and break until 10 a.m. How does that sound? That gives us just over 9 minutes. Good. Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. See you back at 10 a.m.
Thank you. Okay, let's see now. Did I talk too long?
You're muted, Cynthia.
So what I said was, I've been so busy in the last couple of months that I just really wish I could come to your meetings, and I have a very hard time doing it because I'm so over scheduled.
Yeah, yeah. The last meeting that we had was the last meeting for the season. And we only had like 12 to 13 people show up. So
Yeah.
a lot of our people are snowbirds, and they've already transitioned back to their warm, comfortable states.
They're comfortably warm states. Right. Yeah. Lisa, can you hear me? Lisa?
No,
No. Okay, can you see me?
I am completely deaf. Like
Okay.
deaf as a
Are
wooden
you
board, if you will.
related to Curtis, Curtis Inouye, I-N-O-E. He's from New Jersey.
No,
Curtis.
no,
Curtis
in a way, there's a lot of Inouye's in Japan.
Yes.
It's like Smith. Okay. And okay. Yeah, it's pretty common.
Thank you for letting me know. I'm sure you get that I'm sure that you get that all the time.
When I was growing up, yeah, I was deaf, and a lot of my friends would ask me, how do you pronounce your last name? And so I had to tell everyone, in a way. So I'm used to it. It hasn't stopped. So yeah, it's ongoing. So no offense taken.
Thanks for
Okay,
explaining.
everyone.
Thank you.
Welcome back. I hope everyone had a nice break. I know that next on our agenda, we are looking forward to hearing from you, Ron, to talk with us about the walk for hearing. And Lisa may not have any, I don't know, Lisa, if you are familiar at all with the walk for hearing. So Ron, feel free to give a little background on that.
Sure. I want to bring up.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It'd be nice to hear that.
I'll bring up some other information first, just for a second. Hope, hearing other people's experiences for our chapter will continue to run through the summer months. It will be the second Thursday of every month, all the way through the summer. So I will continue to do flyers. And so we did a poll, and everybody said they wanted to keep it going. And Roz and Liz said they could. Why not?
Ron, before you go on, I want to just make a comment about that, about hope. This is really because the HLAA meetings are planning on going back in person, which is wonderful, but to have a group here in Arizona that will continue virtually, is my understanding, is just so crucial and important, because so many people reach out to me when they're hard of hearing and they've never met another hard of hearing person. I've heard that so many times recently in the last few weeks. I don't know anyone else that's hard of hearing, and they may have been hard of hearing for many years and they're just getting by and trying to figure it out. And so I really feel the most helpful thing, other than hearing aids, is to connect with other hard of hearing people. So I can't tell you how much relief it gives me to know that hope will continue and that I have that resource to share with people. And it's a fabulous group, and it just runs so effortlessly, and I think it really makes a difference for people. So thank you.
Thank you, Christy. It's generally a small group, between 10 to 12 people that come, but it's a vivacious group and a lot of fun and great stories. So onward to the walk. Just a little background. Barry and I started the walk. Our first walk was back in 2016. This will be our 7th year in existence. And the first year we raised about 46,000, I believe. And last year we raised $56,000. And our goal this year is going to be $60,000. We always have around 450 to 500 people attend our event. So it's always a pretty good crowd and a very, very significant cross section of individuals, adults, seniors, kids, moms and dads. And so it's just an absolute way to bring this hearing loss community together. And last year was quite the experience because I honestly believe that the majority of the people really wanted to get outside and just meet and walk and talk with one another about hearing loss. So it was a great event last year, and we're hoping to move that on this year. We will be in the exact same place as in years past at Riverview Park. And a couple changes, not real big changes, but small right now. We're not going to do a raffle. We're going to try to collect some very significant items, and we're going to do a silent auction. Very similar, but it just gives individuals an opportunity to bid on specific items. We will bring back the bounce house this year. And for the kids, we hope to have Star Wars group again. They're always a big hit. Probably have the fire engine out there. And Madam Eileen is on track to do balloons and face painting and stuff like that. And also by popular demand, ice cream truck's gonna make a showing. We'll have ice cream again this year. It always is a pleasure to start and sit back as I start building the next walk, is when you get an early sponsorship. Well, Costco showed up this time and gave us a $200 sponsorship for this year's walk already. So one that early in the season is really nice to get. So I will start building this thing. I'll get really serious about it probably around mid-July. Barry's always been a good friend. They help me go out and make a lot of visitations and meet people. And so we'll start doing that in mid to late July. Barry, would you like to say a couple words about this?
Okay, little technology stuff there, well beyond me. It's been a pleasure to be involved in the walk for the last 6 years and to work with Ron and to see the attendance that we get every year with all the hearing loss community coming together. The deaf community has participated in the walk also. And it's just a fun event. I think we've raised now in 6 years, correct me if I'm wrong, Ron, about $285,000. And that's pretty significant. 40% of that money stays right here in the Valley and is invested in the hearing loss community in some way.
Question, this is Lisa. When does the walk happen? Is it in the fall usually?
Oh, the walk this year will happen November 5th. And if you've ever gone to a spring training baseball game at the Chicago Cubs facility. It's the park that the Chicago Cubs play their winter baseball in. It's called Riverview Park, as Ron has mentioned, but most people identify the park with the Chicago Cubs, because that's where their baseball stadium is for spring training. Did that answer your question? Okay.
Yes, yep, got it.
It's Ron spends an inordinate amount of time planning this event, and it's just wonderful to see everything come together. A lot of cooperation with the city of Mesa too, and their requirements to put on a walk. So look forward to another successful event. Every year it seems like the HLAA raises our goal for the walk. The more successful you are, the higher the goal is. So anyway, 60,000 seems doable, but and anyways, I'm happy to participate in it and help out Ron as best I can.
Michelle, well, Cynthia, you want to go first, and then Michelle? And you're muted, Cynthia.
There we go. Ron, is it too late to join you as an alliance team?
No, we're not doing any of that stuff yet. I will start sending out alliances to Aloha, to all the people that had one last year. I will send those out probably the last, soon as I get back from the convention, the last week in June, first week in July, send out new alliance applications. I just got them in the mail, in fact, so I'll put those out. I'm going to say that with Barry's assistance, that it's a pleasure to do this with the hearing loss community, and I think we will hit $60,000 this year. So thanks, everyone.
That's awesome. Okay, Michelle?
So Ron, for the new people on the call and new people that may be watching us, because again, we live stream to YouTube, these are recorded, so people will watch these in the future as well. Can you explain a little bit more? Obviously, the Walk for Hearing is a Hearing Loss Association of America event. HLAA National has walks all over the country. And I think they started, 10 years ago or something. But can you explain a little bit more about, other than it being a really fun and free community event, where you get fun stuff and hugs and get to enjoy things, what is the alliance, and then what is the funding, all the money that we raise, where does that go?
So the national organization, the Hearing Loss Association of America in Maryland, is the headquarters for our walk. So I have a walk manager that works for HLAA, and she lives in Pennsylvania someplace, and named Ronnie Adler. Probably heard her name before. There are going to be 21 walks across the country this year. And there is also going to be, if you are planning to attend the convention, a walk for hearing, actual walk for hearing, registration, t-shirts, the whole gambit at the convention this year, called the Florida Tampa Walk for Hearing. And it is their first walk, and hopefully they can sustain this, and they'll have one, every year now. So I was really surprised to see that. The closest walks that we have, other than ours here in Arizona, there's one in San Diego, there's one in Long Beach, and there was one in San Francisco. And those are the three, and plus ours, the four that are on the West Coast. There's also one in Denver or outside of Denver. Matter of fact, I'm not sure, that one may have closed down. So again, there's 21. The way the funding works, and it's kind of interesting the way that we look at this, is that if I raise $60,000 this year, 50% of those funds go back to HLAA National. So the walk is a huge contribution to their money management in running HLAA. We are able to maintain, as Barry said, 40% of those funds stay right here. And I would probably say that the Arizona Walk for Hearing is probably one of the most solid walks that they have going right now. I guess it's because Barry was our treasurer when we first started, and Barry set a ground rule. Trying to get money out of him was like trying to pull teeth. He always questioned, which made him an excellent treasurer. Can we get this done cheaper someplace else? And always made us look someplace else. And sometimes we got some really good deals. So we will walk into this walk this year with over $20,000 in the bank to put the walk together. So our funding right now is just money that we have earned from previous walks. And we do not spend the money during the year. If we're not working on a walk, that money sits in the bank. Nobody touches it. And come walk time, then yes, we have to start paying for ice cream, paying for all of the vendors that help us put this thing together. A walk on a general basis, very correct me if I'm incorrect, runs about $30,000 to put on. That's after everything is said and done. So it's not a cheap event. It is quite expensive. As I said earlier, Corinne Lusk-Ryden is our new treasurer this year, the first time that she's been working with us. And so I think we're going to do well. We've got the money to put on a good event. And so I'm looking forward to it.
And so, Ron, the alliances, those are nonprofit organizations, and they get a team together like Aloha, and they walk, and then they get 40% of keep that for their own organization, which is going to be pretty much a lot of them are right here in Arizona. So a lot of, the money that you're spending for tables and the park fees and the officers at the event and all that, that stays right here in Arizona. So it benefits Arizona. And then the alliances also, that's helping support them that are working to help people here in Arizona, right?
Yeah. Just one more item I wanted, just because Michelle brought it to light there, is our chapter, and I know that the West Valley chapter is involved in this also. Our chapter received just over $3,000 from alliance funds. So we had each of us had teams, but we had one alliance, and all the teams money that we made went into that alliance. And then we get a check at the end for about $3,000. Now, the great thing about this, and we just finished this program up, is that we give a scholarship to one audiology student at each of the 3 audiology schools, U of A, ASU, and AT Still. And we set it at a specific amount, and we've raised that amount a little bit over the years, but it is to help a student, and the student is chosen by the faculty of that given school. And when they let us know, we set up a presentation, we give them their funds, and we say thank you. And it's just another way to give back to the community. These individuals are going to be audiologists one day, and they're going to have a patient just like me old and can't hear. And so it is one of the greatest things that it's one of the purposes I do the walk.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Ron. And it is just a great experience. Last year was beautiful, and I can't wait to get going for this year. All right, so appreciate that information. And what I would like to do next is I see Becca has jumped on, and I hope Becca can, I think she's there and can turn on her camera. Here she comes. I'm gonna hi Becca, good morning. I'm gonna get you a second to make sure you're all set to go. Thank you for joining us,
Okay.
Becca. We're always happy to have you with us and appreciate having the report for community engagement. And we're looking forward to hearing from you.
Now, before I get started, has Nikki had the opportunity to give her report? Did we want to let her go first and then have me go, or would you like me to go ahead and get started first?
Hi, Becca. So this is Christy. I just got a message from Nikki that she had to leave for a moment to go to her daughter's school. So I'm not sure when she'll be back. So I thought I'd let you go first, and hopefully she's hoping to be back with us.
Okay, fantastic. Not a problem. Yeah, sometimes it's nice to have the overall unit report, and then I could have gone into the details, but I'm happy to go first. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Whew. Maybe for some of you, every day is Friday, right? Happy Friday. Now, as part of the Public Policy and Community Engagement Unit, what I've been doing on the community relations side, there are quite a few things. I believe I mentioned this at our last meeting, but we've decided to do something different for the year. We've created a community engagement calendar with events for the entire year. Well, what we have posted on our website and on our events calendar is only from January through June of this year. We're getting ready to finalize the final 6 months of the year. And on that calendar, we include our community conversations, which are Facebook Live events where we have a conversation with a special guest. We also have family engagement webinars where we focus on parents or stakeholders as they're working with children. We also have a guest speaker series. It's a national speaker series. So please make sure you keep an eye out on our website and our events page. I want to say, oh my gosh, I am so sorry about that. I am in my office, and if I don't move, the lights automatically turn off. There's some automatic lights in here to conserve energy in our office. So I'm so sorry about that. I was in the dark for a moment. All right, going back to the community engagement calendar, you will either have to click on the link to register in order to attend a webinar or a speaker series event. For the Facebook Lives, obviously, you can just jump onto our Facebook page at that day, at that time. You don't need to register. Just yesterday, because May is not only Better Hearing and Speech Month, it's also Mental Health Awareness Month. Yesterday, we had a conversation with a licensed counselor, Joy Plote, Plote, and she was able to talk more about mental health issues within the deaf community. We could have really gone into the deaf, blind, and hard of hearing communities as well if we had more than just an hour. It was like peeling back the layers of an onion. It was so interesting to see how things impact the different communities that we serve. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we can also address mental health services and mental health issues here in the state of Arizona. And I am excited that in October, we will be hosting another community conversation. This one is titled, Why is Captioning So Important? So thank you so much to Michelle and Christy. We will be having a conversation with Shannon Tyree, Tyree, on captioning issues and the importance of captioning. Keep an eye out for that event as well. I hope you're able to attend. Please invite your friends and your colleagues and anyone from any work groups that you may be a part of. That event will occur October 6th. We know it'll be in the afternoon, so please keep an eye out for more information on that. With that said, the month of May is also Better Hearing and Speech Month. I'm not sure if you follow us on our different social media platforms or if you subscribe to our weekly e-news, but Christy has been wonderful with submitting different postings that we have for social media, and we've been posting about daily on our social media as of late. And we're trying to design our posts around the theme for the month. And this month's theme is connecting people. Not only that, but Michelle and Christy are also doing a community view event that will also air on our Facebook and our YouTube page next Thursday. That should be at 3 p.m. So we're looking forward to that interview coming up next Thursday. Yes, May 26th. Oh my gosh, I can't believe that the month is almost over. Time is just flying. We're already at the middle of the year. We are continuing our partnership and our collaboration with Arizona Clean Elections. As you know, we have the upcoming primary. We are continuing to ensure that our voting materials, our education materials are accessible to the populations that we serve. And we do that by providing captioning, American Sign Language, and a transcript. So keep an eye on 2 new projects that we're working on with Clean Elections this year. We're working on several voter education videos, and we will also be doing a similar project to what we did 2 years ago with the Citizens Clean Elections Committee. They post the voter education guide, and that includes everything and anything that you might need to know about voting in Arizona. You will find that in the guide. And you also find information about the candidates who are running for office, and you can read their candidate statements in that guide. We will be translating that guide into American Sign Language again this year. It'll include voiceover and a transcript. We're excited about that project, so keep an eye out for it as well. All right, I'm looking at my notes here. Another goal for us here at the Commission for the new fiscal year is to provide more outreach to the rural areas. Right before the pandemic started, we were getting ready to have specific office hours in Yuma. We were partnering with the Arizona State Schools for the Deaf and Blind in Yuma to use their public spaces to meet with stakeholders, community members, and families. But because of COVID, we had to put that project on hold. We are hoping to revisit that project starting in July, hoping to do that outreach to Yuma and specifically to the rural areas. So if you know of any issues within rural areas, please bring that to our attention and let us know so we can put it on our radar for this year. Our fiscal year is July 1st through June 30th. And the last thing that I wanted to mention is that Christy and I will be hosting a booth. And Christy, I'm sorry if you've already mentioned this. We will be hosting a booth June 13th and 14th at the World Elderly Abuse Day. That is hosted by the Division of Aging Services or DOS. I know I'm missing something. I know I'm missing an A in that acronym. I'm so sorry. What is the A, Michelle?
It is the State Division of Aging and Adult Services.
Thank you. Adult Services. That's what it was. Thank you so much, Michelle. So Christy and I will be hosting a booth there. There will also be several breakout sessions that we will be attending. So we're looking forward to getting out into the real world and networking again. That's it for me and my report. Any comments or questions?
Fred has his hand up, Becca.
Becca, when you, for example, work with Yuma, do you actually travel to Yuma to talk to people, or do you go out physically to some of these locations?
It was our plan 2 years ago to start hosting office hours once per quarter in Yuma. We wanted to also be able to participate in any events that were hosted in the rural areas while we were there. Our goal was to physically go and be there, yes.
Anybody else have anything for Becca? All right. Thank you so much, Becca. I appreciate that. I know while we're hoping Nikki's able to join
And
us.
I'll be here for the remainder of the meeting.
Wonderful. I know Michelle is going to take a moment and share a bit on employment, and we'll hope that Nikki can join us after that.
Yeah, well, we had Harvey. Harvey works for the Maricopa Association of Government and in the Employment Arizona at Work area. Harvey is a member of our task force and was supposed to be here today, but wasn't able to be. And he always talks about employment. And I'm just going to reiterate that if someone is out there looking for a job, he just has said, just show up. Show up at the career fair, show up at the hiring fair, because more than likely you're going to get a job. It is an employee's market right now. Employers need staff. So do not let being hard of hearing keep you from looking for a job, getting a job. There are a lot of opportunities out there, from entry level all the way up. And so he always is sending out emails about jobs that are open up. We have a jobs board on our website that people are posting jobs on. So there are a lot of openings. We want to encourage people to actually look into that. And don't worry about accommodations if you're employed by some employer more than a couple people in an office kind of thing. You're going to get accommodations. We can help you figure out how to do that. We can talk to you. Of course, the state has vocational rehabilitation program, VR for short, and the VR counselors can also help. We can talk to you about how to request accommodations at work, when to identify your disability, what kinds of things that you can use, just even communication strategies. When I go into a room where there's a meeting, I never sit by the door because the door is a noisy spot. I'm going to sit far away from the door. I'm going to sit facing people. So I want to be able to see people. So just a lot of strategies that we can teach. But there's definitely a lot of jobs that are available. So I know that if Harvey were here, this is what he would be saying as well. And then one other thing, Becca had mentioned the World Elder Abuse event that she and Christy are going to be staffing, because again, we're looking at all kinds of issues that affect hard of hearing people. And one of them is being older and the potential for abuse, for control, domestic violence, these kinds of things. Caregivers can be under a lot of stress. So we'll have a presence there at that event. And it made me think about something else that Christy's going to be doing. And that is, and I know that Ron and I have actually done some emergency preparedness role-playing trainings before. That's always great to get out into the community. We have, obviously, on the federal level, you have emergency preparedness. On a state level, you have emergency preparedness. And this is preparedness for emergencies, which in the state of Arizona tend to be fires and floods. That's what affects us most in Arizona, wildfires and flooding. But any kind of emergency, whether it's a plane crash at Sky Harbor Airport, a dirty bomb going off downtown where the government buildings are, any kind of scenario, our state agencies, Arizona Department of Emergency Management, Military Affairs, they're all working hard together all the time to really help protect the citizens of Arizona and to respond to any crisis. And one of the things that's coming up next week is there's going to be a repatriation event. It's a drill at Sky Harbor Airport. And of course, this is by invitation only. And Christy is going to be one of the actors. It's what they call us. Me and Ron have been actors before. And this is to test the response of Sky Harbor Airport being able to receive hundreds of people who are being repatriated to Arizona due to an event that has caused these people to come to Arizona. And so this tests all of the Red Cross and housing and shelter and medical and all the things that people would need. And so Christy's going to be doing that, acting as a hard of hearing person, which she is in real life. And so she will be presenting to them and saying, I'm hard of hearing. It is loud and noisy here. I don't know what you're saying. And that makes them figure out how to communicate with her. There are actors in wheelchairs. There are actors who are deaf. There are all kinds of people with disabilities will be represented. So Christy will be participating in that to help them improve their accommodations and their assistance to all of these varied people who would show up under a repatriation type of event. So Becca and I have in the past done acting. We did one of the role plays was a dirty bomb kind of thing that Becca and I did. And, so you're moved from different points to points. And I did the Sky Harbor pretend airport crash one time. I was laying out on the tarmac. It was hot. But they have to drill this, right? And so drilling, practicing is really important. Just like in your own homes, what do you do if a fire starts in the kitchen? Can you get out? Do you have a fire extinguisher? What do you do if a fire starts at night? And of course, our military veterans, Fred and Ron, you know how important it is to drill. So Christy's going to be doing that next week, and we're really looking forward to seeing what happens with that experience. And sometimes the emergency managers in Arizona ask for people to participate. So if we have that invitation, we will let all of you know that we're looking for hard of hearing people who will show up and say, can't hear, and make them figure it out. Don't tell them. Make them figure out how to communicate with you. Okay. So I just wanted to mention that as well.
Thanks, Michelle. I'm just going to add on a little bit to that. I'm looking forward to that. I know if it truly is an emergency situation, I won't be lucky enough to have, I have Sabrina here with me today, but I probably won't have CART, or we probably won't have CART in situations like that. So I'm really hoping, and a lot of times they might have an interpreter standing by, which is wonderful for the deaf community. But as we know, the majority of hard of hearing people aren't fluent in ASL. So I'm really looking forward to seeing, I'm going to bring in a notepad. I'm going to even maybe show them my live transcribe, things that they probably haven't maybe thought of, but I'm hoping to be able to, help them prepare. What can we do to communicate? Because it's going to be really hard for me to understand, especially at the airport. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And let me see here. Oh, Becca has just popped back on. Becca has her hand up.
Yes, I just wanted to share something real quick. I remember one time at the airport at a training, and we were we were all riding together to this area where that was nothing was there. We had just deplaned, and some of the staff people started arriving, and they just started talking away, and I was completely lost. Two things happened in that situation. I think at that time I had just found out about the microphone on the phone. So I just started taking the initiative. I went over and stood next to people who were talking and pointed the microphone or the phone at them, and they were like, "What's going on?" And I said, "No. You keep talking." I tried to gesture to them. "You keep talking," and I showed them what it looked like, and they were like, "Oh, okay." It was a very awkward experience for them, but it taught them something. So that was one thing. And then somehow this lady came up to me and said that her child, I can't remember if it was her child or adult child, had autism, and she had learned some signs. He used some signs, kind of took me under her wing to sort of sign with me a little bit after the presentation. It was like, what's next? What's going on next? So I can't imagine being in an actual situation like that, but just putting that out there, Christy, just so you know.
No, I appreciate that. There's so many things to consider because, we always talk about how it's invisible. People just, they don't know. And then it's even with being hard of hearing, I'm speaking, and so I have hearing aids. So I think then they think, okay, all ready to go, right? And of course, that does not fix it. Even for me, not understanding all the sounds of speech, it's still such a challenge depending on the environment. So it's definitely something to know about. And I'm excited to, teach people, hopefully, and be able to create awareness. Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking forward to that next week. I hope it's not too hot. It's been hot. I'm going to, let's see if, I'm not sure if Nikki's camera isn't on yet. Let's see yet. Not sure if she's back yet or not. I do have a chat. Let me check on the chat. Let's see if I have any. I don't think I have any messages. And it could be that Nikki got called away to do something important. So I'm not sure if she's going to be back in time or not. I don't know if Becca has any updates on that. We always look forward to that information. Becca shared a lot of great information with us already. Let's see. Oh,
there I go.
We're
Hello.
so excited. You
Good
just
afternoon.
made
Good
it.
morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Sorry about that. I had an emergency come up. My daughter, school issues, but they're taken care of. In regards, though, to the public policy and community relations effort, we've been pretty quiet with the legislature lately. We've sort of been in suspense and waiting for more information in regards to the budget. And so currently, what was provided was a skinny budget. Doesn't really address, the needs and the issues that we have currently. So that's one thing. There's other bills that we're keeping our eye on. Betty McIntyre is still in the role of Director of Public Policy and Community Relations, and she's doing more of the she's more heavily involved with policy work right now during the legislative session. Her last day is June 14. After that, I'll be taking on more of the work. Lately, I've been more focused on the SB 1992 task force in terms of the language development, language acquisition for children who are deaf, hard of hearing, deaf blind, from 0 to 12. So we are currently preparing for a draft recommendation that should be completed by June. That recommendation will address issues within the system where agencies or organizations are providing resources. You know, what kind of gaps exist there that need to be addressed? And so that's one. The other is data and information about people who live in Arizona. And the third is what type of assessment, early assessments, what type of assessments are used, and then we will make preferred recommendations. So those are the three things that we're looking forward to as far as recommendations to the legislature to pay attention to. So trying to think of some of the other issues. Christy, do you have anything in mind that you want me to speak to specifically?
Not that I know Becca shared a lot of great information, and I can't think of anything additional. I don't know if Michelle has anything. Becca had a lot of the great points, and I can't think of anything additional off the top of my brain. Michelle, do you have anything additional?
Trying to remember. Oh, I know. Nikki, the state plan on aging. The state plan on aging, I know that the Division of Aging and Adult Services, which is part of DES, the Department of Economic Security, big state agency. And every several years, they put out a state plan on aging. They work with all the area agencies on aging to identify the needs of older adults and seniors. And I know that we got in the state plan, ACDHH got in. Can you speak to that, Nikki? Yeah, thanks.
Yes, sure thing. The Arizona ACDHH will be providing a training to the different service agencies in regards to how to work with older adults who have hearing loss and a variety of different levels. And we'll also getting more involved in strategic planning. And so we'd be happy to share the link for the plan. It's a draft. We're asking for public comments. Last month, we put that out. So I'd be happy to send you the link so you can peruse that if you want to peruse the plan. We're really thrilled to be involved, though, to be a part of this process.
Yeah, thanks, Nikki. We're really excited. It's something that, again, the senior project, Sherry Collins, our executive director, is the external lead on that project. I'm the internal lead. Of course, all of our units work together. We work together with public policy, the community affairs unit, which Christy and I are in. And, working with, again, we know that 1/3 to 1/2 of older adults have a hearing loss. Most of them are hard of hearing. But we also know that we have, tens of thousands of deaf people in Arizona who need accommodations. So the state plan on aging, us getting into that and being recognized as a partner in that, we're able to raise that awareness of the communication access needs. We, when we get a call, and this is true real life, we get a call where an older deaf lady has been in a skilled nursing facility for 10 days and has not had an interpreter the entire time. No interpreter. We are just aghast when that happens. And so we know that there's systems change that needs to happen. There's policy change. And so our public policy unit works on that. Client affairs, that's Christy, Vicky, and I, our deaf specialists, deaf blind specialists, those of us working with clients on a daily basis. We provide feedback to our executive team, of which Nikki's a member, to let them know what we're seeing happen in the community, where there are gaps, where there could be improvements. If you're hard of hearing and you're in the hospital, and I just had a call a month ago from a hard of hearing lady in the hospital who wasn't understanding what was happening. And she didn't sign, she didn't need an interpreter, she needed captioning. And so if you're in a hospital, in a skilled nursing facility, you're in an assisted living facility or independent care, what kind of accommodations are you getting? And a lot of these places, the senior centers and things, are funded through the Division of Aging and Adult Services, through the funding that comes from the federal government, the Older Americans Act funding that comes to the state and is given out to the area agencies on aging. So congregate meals, home delivered meals. If you get a home delivered meal and you're deaf, does the person knock on the door? If you're deaf, you're not going to hear that person delivering your meal because they're knocking. So do you have a doorbell that's lighting up? These are the kinds of things that we want to really be paying close attention to, the home and community-based services. If you have a physical therapist coming in who's being paid by Medicare to do some therapy in your home, is that person able to communicate with you? So please let us know of any issues. If you come to us, Vicky, Christy, or I, we're going to make sure that our executive team knows that Nikki is aware of what's happening so that we can look at that strategically on a systems level to see what can be changed. I think I got that all right. Is that right, Nikki?
Yes, definitely. Yeah, please, if there's any issues that you see out there or you hear in the community or that you know of, please share it with Christy, with Michelle Michaels, and we will that'll help us with policy and systemic change. We are currently meeting with some of the leaders with different state agencies that are also involved with older adults. So those meetings hopefully will create change and sustainable change. And so it's ongoing work. It's a work in progress.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, Nikki. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
Thank you.
No. Okay. I want to just, are there
Thank you
any
all,
other?
Nikki, thank you all. And again, sorry for some of the gaps today or being missing today.
Just thank you so much, and glad everything's okay, Nikki. And thank you for joining us. And I want to just, on the agenda, we do have an opportunity for any announcements or any other information to share. Does anybody have any other things that they want to mention? Oh, Fred has his hand up.
Just wanted to make a quick comment on, Pat and I have, when we travel, we meet people who see me and see my cochlear implants and probably my good looks, and they come up and they want to talk. And they said, how did you find out about this? And on and on. Anyway, long story short, Arizona, we are unusually blessed to have such an active community and a state government that offers us so many possibilities and so much information. And everybody on this call, almost up to new folks, have helped me personally find information for myself or my chapter. And then you have Michelle and Christy, who are kind of like portals into the National Archives. And we have so much help here that it's unbelievable. And we don't feel like we're alone. When we travel, we talk to these people who just came back from Northwest, and their HLA chapters are kind of dying out. Their state governments don't have a Michelle and Christie. There can be good offices, but they don't have the personal touch where you can call and get, like, I send people to Michelle when I don't know what to do. I probably shouldn't have told her that. But there's other places you can't do that. And one of the worst effects of this is you don't learn about new technology. You don't learn about how to talk to people. And you don't find another person to commiserate with, so you don't feel like you're by yourself. You'd be surprised how many parts of this country that's the situation. And this is sort of a commercial for us. Very active bunch of people here. We know we can call people up in a moment's notice and get help from in some way, advice, so on and so forth. So I sitting in this meeting today made me think about it. That's why I'm telling you this. And in our travels, we know that, for example, Ron tells us there's 21 walks for hearing, probably 2 or 3 in California. But think of all the places where they don't have one. They don't have that meeting place and that fundraising. And we're lucky. We have really good active people here who know a lot of stuff. So I just thought I'd mention that, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for that, Fred. We appreciate everything that all of you do too. And I know it makes our job so much easier to be able to share people with all of you and connect to the community. I know, and I'm not alone in saying, Michelle, myself, and Vicki Thompson too, who is part of our Arizona Telecommunication Equipment Distribution Program. Every day we have emails and calls, just like Fred was mentioning, people who have they don't know anyone else who's hard of hearing. They don't have any information yet on technology or amplified telephones or support groups. And so really, honestly, some of these folks are just at the end of their rope, and we can all understand that. They are looking to connect with somebody who understands them, because that's what we really all want. We want to be, I think, understood. And when we're hard of hearing, we're a little bit in between two worlds, and we don't often know anybody else who's hard of hearing. So I hope our community will just grow and connect these people and bring these people into the fold, and it gives people hope. So thank you so much for all being here. I want to be sure to say that our next meeting date is August 19th, 2022. Michelle, as far as I know, this will be a Zoom meeting. Well, I guess we'll have to be determined, or it'll be on Zoom most likely.
We follow what our Board of Commissioners, and Fred is one of our commissioners, we follow what the board does. So if the board decides to, in August at their next meeting, have it in person, then we'll be able to do that. So we'll wait and see, but the date is confirmed. So we'll let you know how we're getting together in August.
Absolutely. I will keep you all posted. So we'll either be here again on live stream on YouTube, or we'll be meeting in person. And we have about 2 more minutes. And before I adjourn, I want to be sure to say thank you to Bradley and Dustin and Sabrina for giving us our ASL interpreters and our cart so that we have access to the meeting. And hopefully everybody that is able to tap in will also be able to share that with their communities too, CART and ASL interpreters, because we're all about wanting that accessibility. But it is 10:58. And does anybody have any last comments? Michelle?
Cynthia.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cynthia. I'm sorry. Oh, and you're muted, Cynthia.
I'm trying to unmute. I just wondered if that in-person meeting will contain a component of Zoom. if you have it in person, because I know that I'm about to leave for Europe right then, and I will be in the East, and I would like to attend the meeting. And I will be able to attend the meeting if there is a Zoom component.
Thank you, Cynthia. That's a great question. And I will certainly, I've wondered about that myself when we go back in person. I know we love having as many people attend as possible. So it's just another great way to connect. So I will let you know. I will ask that question and find out, and we'll see what the board does. And I'll keep everyone posted on that. So we just have one last minute together. Does anybody else have any other questions or comments before we adjourn today? I will thank you so much for all of your hard work and valuable.
This is Lisa. Thank you, Christy, for letting me be involved with this task force. I learned a lot from you all, and it was a great meeting. I'm glad to see this happening in Arizona and in our community.
Great. Thank you so much, Lisa. And with that, it's 11 a.m. So thank you so much for joining, everyone, and have a wonderful, safe weekend. And we'll see you again soon.